Welcome back to Worth a Shot, the series where I recommend some of my favorite games to you. I kinda hinted at this one in my Games of 2016 video, so today I want to take a quick look at Rainbow Six Siege. Siege is developed by Ubisoft and was released in December of 2015, but the launch didn't really go as smooth as it should have. Siege was initially plagued by many bugs, glitches, hackers and other glaring issues. So it's a little surprising to see how this game has evolved into something well worth playing. But let's start from the top. Rainbow Six Siege at its core is a multiplayer-only, competitive, tactical first-person shooter. A game of Siege follows a fairly simple pattern. 5 defenders try to protect an objective from 5 attackers, in one of 3 game modes. If the objective is taken or one team is completely eliminated, the round ends and the teams switch sides. Sounds pretty standard so far, but of course there are several things that make Siege unique. Before each round you get to choose one of currently 28 different operators, 14 for attackers and 14 for defenders. Each comes with their unique guns, gadgets and equipment. And depending on your team composition, every round plays different. Or at least they should, because if you follow the same tactic every time, you will probably be picked off immediately. Whichever operator you pick can open up different approaches on the objective, with different operators complementing and countering each other. Let me give you an example. Every player on the defending team has the ability to reinforce 2 destroyable walls, so normal breach charges can't destroy them anymore. Thermite or Hibana on the attacking team, however, have gadgets at their disposal to destroy even those walls. Mute and Bandit on the defending team have a way to counter their gadgets by using their own gadgets, namely Mute's signal jammers and Bandit's batteries. Thatcher on the attacking side can take out the jammers and batteries with his EMP grenades. I think you can see where this is going. Almost all operators are either directly countered by another operator or can be countered by using a certain playstyle. The thing is, you don't know what team composition the other team is going to have when you pick your own operators, and you can't switch until the next round. You can guess what the enemy might have, of course, but part of having a good strategy in this game is to surprise the enemy with something they did not expect. This creates a very interesting dynamic that makes every round feel unique. Now, with the concept of operators out of the way, let's talk about maps and destruction. Rainbow Six Siege currently features 15 maps. Some are of course more popular than others, but they all have one thing in common. They allow you to attack an objective from multiple angles and have opportunities for many different approaches. Every map also has cameras located in fixed positions that allow the defenders to keep an eye on the attacking team as they make their way to the objective. Of course, if the attackers have bothered to learn where those cameras are, they will be shot out, but they can still offer valuable intel on the enemy and allow the defenders to flank the attackers. The attacking team, on the other hand, can open up several ways to get around the map. As I mentioned earlier, many walls and floors are either completely destructible or can be shot through. That means that even if the objective room may only have one door, there's always a good chance that the attackers might just open up several walls to get into it. Those destructible walls can also be reinforced, as mentioned before, limiting the attacking team in their approaches. All these factors encourage different playstyles and tactics. And, as diverse as the rounds can be, they basically all start the same. The defenders get a small head start to fortify rooms, deploy their gadgets and get into position. Meanwhile, the attacking team gets to explore the map using drones, trying to find the objectives or traps. After the preparation phase, the attackers have to either capture the objective or eliminate the other team. I should also talk about the game modes. While there are technically 3 different modes, they play mostly the same. They only differ in how you capture the objective. In Secure Area, you have to occupy a certain room with your team, while in Bomb, you have to defuse one of 2 bombs using a diffuser that needs to be protected for a certain amount of time. And in Hostage, you have to capture the hostage and get them out of the building. As similar as they might seem, they diversify the gameplay enough to keep it fun. But I've talked so much already and haven't even really mentioned the gameplay. Rainbow Six Siege favors a more realistic approach to the gunplay than other FPSs out there, meaning that one bullet to the head from any weapon will kill you instantly. Bullets in general tend to do a lot more damage no matter where they hit. As a result, the time to kill in this game is very low, making a tactical approach and having an idea of where the enemy is even more important. And because it is that important, you will spend a good chunk of every round with looking for your enemies by either using cameras and drones or by just listening for any sounds they make. Speaking of the sound, it is absolutely brilliant. In most cases, you can accurately identify where an enemy is just by listening for their footsteps or other sounds. Or you can just rely on your team to call out enemy locations. Speaking of which, I highly recommend playing this game with a pre-made team as it makes communication a lot easier. And even if you don't have a team, use the in-game voice chat as much as possible to communicate with your team. If you can give good callouts and advice, the players in your team will greatly appreciate it. Just make sure that your microphone comes through loud and clear, so your team can actually understand you. Also, I already said that this game is multiplayer only, but I should probably clarify a little. The game technically has a terrorist hunt mode that can be played alone, but even that requires a constant internet connection. There is no single player campaign or anything of the like. So I've gotten most things about the actual game off the way by now. So let's talk about its evolution so far and its business model. After a bad launch, Ubisoft really picked up the slack and managed to fix the most pressing issues relatively quickly. Even the cheater problem has been addressed with the introduction of BattleEye. The game still has some issues, including the netcode and the rather clunky main menu, but it has improved significantly since its release. So far even, that Rainbow Six Siege has a lot more players now than it had when it released back in 2015. And that number is constantly growing. One thing that also helped the game a lot is the way it handles its content releases. Normally the game is around $40, which goes down to about 20 or even lower during a sale. And technically speaking, that is all you ever have to spend on the game. All new maps and operators are available for free. You still have to grind in-game currency to unlock operators, but you don't have to buy them with real money. When initially jumping into the game, you will have no operators, but just doing tutorial missions will reward you with enough currency to buy a few of the base operators. It doesn't actually take too long to unlock all of them if you play quite regularly, as the base operators are quite cheap. Just the DLC operators are a little more expensive, but still affordable after some playtime. There is also a season pass up for sale that will unlock all new operators a little early and without having to pay for them. But other than that and a few cosmetic items like skins and weapon charms, it offers no additional benefits. The main reason to buy the season pass is to support the further development of the game, and hopefully get another year of support once the next one has run out. Because even the second year of content that was confirmed recently was not set in stone. But it shows that both Ubisoft and the Rainbow Six Siege community have a lot of faith in this game, and I personally hope that it lives on for a long time. The game also offers some microtransactions, but those only amount to some skins and boosts which have no impact on the gameplay whatsoever. And even if you don't want to spend any more money, you can still buy some great skins for your weapons with in-game currency. I do believe that the system of having to unlock operators is not ideal, but the release of free content is something that more games should adapt in the future, because splitting up the community with paid content is never a good idea. Looking at you, Battlefield. But I think this video is long enough. In closing, I just want to say that if you're looking for a shooter that values a little more realism and tactics than most other FPSs out there, then this game might be right up your alley. It's a little hard to get into as a new player, but if you are willing to learn, this is a great game. And that's it. Enough of my rambling. I hope you still enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.